Well, this reality is not what we've been told, okay? I want to tell you my story, or I've seen the game overlay. We're in a game. I've come to find that it's called Agamemnon. It's a game of non-memory. A game, agam, memory, non. We come here, we forget to remember. We literally sign up to forget. Because that makes it more fun. So, this sounds, okay. See, I've seen it, and it's based on the pyramids. But at some point, I think I revealed too much. And there are definite, like, oh man, I know how this sounds, but there are feds. There are agents in the game that are like headhunters. They get points when they take your third eye, and they eat it. I've seen them eat it. It sounds insane. Oh my gosh, it sounds so insane. So the fact that I can realize that this sounds insane, doesn't that like actually make me not insane? I mean, I don't know. This is why I've never really shared this, because it's like, but it's impossible that it isn't the real truth because of everything and how it all lined up and how it just is. First of all, remember before I was born, okay? And people are like, oh no, those memories were implanted. How can that be? And if memories were implanted, okay, let me tell you how I know that the feds are there. 4:44 when I looked on the timer. Because when my third eye opened, when I was in a no thinking state, I was able to travel through the computer grid. Okay, I know that sounds weird, but there is a computer grid, and you're like, oh, but computers only came about. No, we're all programmed with that. This is all programming, okay? So you could say that, well, you were programmed with pre-birth memories. Even so, it's all a program, but for why, okay? But let me just tell you, so have you ever seen like a negative image? Yeah, like when you look at negatives, okay, how they look. This is what it's like in this layer. This one we see like in full spectrum, sort of like 3-dimensional. We see in all of the colors, right? But this other realm is sort of like the negative of that, where it's more like a dark background. So it's like basically if you could think of hyperspace, what that might look like, where it's all, or if you could go inside your TV in a weird way, okay? So it's all dark except for the outline of everything is glowing and highlighted. So the first thing I noticed when my third eye opened and I realized I was in this game layer, because I could see it in my third eye, meaning I closed my eyes, and when I was meditating, I could, like, you can see it, okay? And there's varying degrees of it, okay? This particular layer that I was seeing out in the distance, this is before I knew anything about Illuminati, anything I knew about anything, okay? I was not a conspiracy person. I was totally in the world and believing it was like, you know what I mean? Like I was like, you know, like, was I intelligent? Did I realize, like, I had a good heart and I thought that this world was fucked up, how we do everything, but I would have never in a million fucking years been like, this is a video game, okay? I would have thought somebody who said that is a fucking nut job, okay? So there you go. So 7:02, and if you're watching me right now and you think I'm a nut job, whatever, okay, cool, but hey, am I an entertaining nut job? You know, that's up to you, all right? Maybe I'm just a train wreck that you want to watch. Whatever, who cares, okay? Listen, when I was sitting there, right on this chair right next to me where I meditate, okay? It's an egg chair, and I'm sitting there meditating, and I noticed that out in the distance, what do I see but pyramids? I realized that I'm in like, this is what it looked like. I all of a sudden realized I was in like this big open space of like just darkness, just like expansion. Just think of the word expansion, and that's what it feels like. There's like nothing but this. It's just expansion everywhere. And in the distance I saw, there was sand. It seemed like sand, kind of like glistening, right? But in the distance I saw pyramids. And I was like, what? Okay. So I just kind of looked at it for a while, you know? I looked at it. The first day I kind of looked at it and didn't really think much. Then the next day when I meditated, I noticed it again and I was like, okay. And then, you know, a few days of this and I was like, got a little bit curious. I know that sounds like, you know, but at first I was like, this is nothing. This is like, maybe I'm just, you know, I'm Looney Tunes, whatever. What, you know, I just kind of looked at it, but I was like, meh, this makes my, you know, but also I was in like the most calm state. And whenever I would come out of these meditations, I would feel 100% like renewed, rejuvenated. So I was like addicted to the feeling of after the meditation, and also addicted to the feeling of in the meditation, this like expanse feeling and being able to see. Now, mind you, I was not on drugs. I know that I smoke marijuana now. Okay, this is before that I ever smoked marijuana. I was not on any drugs. I was not on any fucking drugs. I am not a drinker, none of this, okay? I'm gonna say that, and now I just thought this because I really do want a drink right now. Okay, cheers. This is a mandarin orange seltzer. Yum, okay. It gives the feeling of drinking a soda without all the sugar, okay? So I just like love it. Okay. So back to the story, darling. Where was I? The video game layer, right? But I was also, okay. So yeah, I was thinking I was a little bit crazy, but so I kept meditating because I just liked the effects it was giving on my life. Like I have a lot of children. I have 6 of them. And after I started, pardon me, after I started this meditation practice, I all of a sudden felt like this equanimity inside and this calmness. Even when things were going insane around me, I was still like, okay. And I rather much liked that because I was no longer like feeling like I was like always just like in turmoil. You know, I had like this like peaceful inner being happening in me. And I was like, I love this, so I'm going to keep doing it. Okay, well, back to the pyramid. I look and I'm just like, you know, what's really weird? I just, like, after about a few days of looking at it, I just realized I'm looking at it and it just dawns on me. I'm like, I have seen this before. Like, I have seen this before. What am I looking at here? Like, I knew that there was pyramids in Giza, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, what am I looking at here? And I realized that it was, so when I wanted to get a better glimpse of it, I was like, maybe I can move a little closer to it. You know, let's think about moving closer. And all of a sudden I was like moving closer to it. And I was like, oh, so I can like move in this reality. Okay. So I was moving closer to it, and I noticed that it was the pyramid. Okay. And at the top of it, no shit, was a pyramid, a tinier pyramid floating above it. So it was like a pyramid and then a tinier pyramid floating above it, and it was spinning, and in the center of it was an eyeball. And I was like, where have I seen this before? Right? I'm like looking at this and I'm just like, what? And it was just weird. And I was like, you know, it's like I've seen this before, but where have I seen this before? What in the hell am I looking at here? Right? So I come out of meditation and I'm like, And, you know, I don't know if it was like later that day or whatever, but I either went online or I was just like doing something, but I noticed that it was on money. And I was like, oh, that's where I saw that pyramid before. I saw it on money. What the heck? So then I went on the internet, and I was like, why am I so? And then I started to see, you know, things about like Illuminati and all this other stuff, and I was like, what the actual fuck? How is it that I see the same thing on the freaking money in my mind's eye, right? You could say, oh, you're worried about money. Okay, I know, I get that. We all are, whatever. But I mean, I'm saying like, this didn't even dawn on me that it was money. Okay, and I was just looking at it and I was just like, what is that? Like, and the fact that I could move, this was like optics, like real optics that were happening. And I was just like, you know, and I felt worried. I didn't know how to, I wasn't going to tell anyone, you know, I kind of sort of told, you know, my partner, and he was like, you know, like he was like, you're fucking insane type vibes, you know, and I was just like, I'm going to keep that to myself, you know? So, but this was like the start of like just really weird things happening that would happen. But, I saw that and I was like, okay. So I started talking about it on Facebook. Okay. Stupid, right? But you know, I'm like really innocent, and I believe that people are mainly good at heart and that they have my same heart. Going through this life, I have been mistaken to believe that other people have the same heart chakra that I have attained. Because no, this is an attainment. It doesn't mean, it's not like, oh wow, you've attained more. No, in fact, I'm pretty sure the amount of pain or suffering you have to go through to get a heart this pure is a lot or something. Because you need to see the suffering up hand and up close. You need to be the suffering to really fucking understand how to be the opposite of that, which is pure unconditional love and care and giving like of yourself to others. You're real, you know. But I hadn't put two and two together like that, because I'm pretty sure that I was born with a pure heart type vibe. Okay. And like I can honestly say in my life, I have never wanted to do harm to someone and then act on it, like consciously. Okay. In my subconscious, this is what it is when you meditate. You dive into your subconscious to alchemize it, learn from it, and expand your heart chakra from that. So I went down into the waters, you know, and of my psyche, of my being, whatever it would be, you know, like it's like you travel down into your mind to the depths, right? And at some point, maybe you break through and you get into the heart. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is the heart of the matter, right? This is all metaphysical for what I'm trying to explain, but I'm saying I'm not the same as other people, you know, I just never have been, and it doesn't mean I'm special. In fact, it was really sucked, and I tried to fake it for so many years to be like other people, and it just never happened, you know, I was never accepted, right? So I've spent my whole life, I feel like, weirdly studying humanity as if I'm not really a part of it. And so, because maybe myself doesn't feel like I'm a part of it, and so I project that, or I project, you know, there's all sorts of ways we could go into this, but I'm saying either way, I looked at humanity as if it was something to witness, learn from, and understand as like a being, like a collective species. And for so many years, my projected heart onto humanity was so heavy that I really thought that most of humanity had my same heart in the center. And I'm still not sure on that. Okay. I mean, I'm hoping, and from what I gather, the heart of everyone and the heart of the universe, the heart of the collective is like at the center core is the most pure essence of like the child. That is pure innocence. It's pure hopefulness. It's pure giddy. It's pure curiosity, and curiosity in a beautiful way, to want to know, to want to understand, to want to connect to and become more like, or want to just experience, right? Don't you want someone to like look at you as like an experience to witness? right? And then they're an experience to witness. And then when the two are experiencing and witnessing each other, it's magic because you're both in that pure moment of now, okay? Where the now moment of the center of the heart of everything, which is pure connection, okay? In my travelings, this is just my whatever I'm giving to you. So, and this is how I talk, okay? I meander, all right? So we're gonna just go with it, all right? This is part channel and also part remembrance, and also I'm just gonna go with it, okay? Take it or leave it, really. I'm just gonna share it because I'm led to. So that's what I'm gonna do. 17:55 on the timer, all right? They're like, yes, queen. Teach them. Change it up, girl. Okay, cool. So here's the thing. Cheers. And the reason I said that is because 17 is the letter Q. Q is for queen, obviously, right? And Spirit has this interesting way of talking to me in the simulation, and everyone has their own code. So everyone can do this. But for me, the alphabet means something, and QRS, my initials are RS. So Queen RS. So basically, it's just me knowing that I'm a queen. And this is not saying, because I know that everyone is a queen and a king, or a queen, or whatever you want to be, you know? Everyone is valuable, everyone is unique, and everyone is equally precious, okay? Even if they are at different points of the journey, if you will. And why would it be fun if all the journeys were the same? No, because, you know, we like novelty, we like creation, we like excitement, we like things that get us interested, okay? We like to be entertained, right? So, and a child, I shouldn't say a kid, whatever, that innocent child is like purely seeking without any motive that is anything other than to learn, okay? So it's pure. Well, once you start bringing in, you know, once you start dividing and you start separating and you start becoming, you go outside of the box of, the box of innocent child, then you get into the darkness, right? Which is the unknown, right? So we know what we know, and then we expand outward, and then we know what we know. So it's like always going out to attain. This is what we're doing with our consciousness through the experience of this realm, okay? So I pick this up, and I look at it, and it's beautiful, and I smell it, and I see it, and I see this, right? And this is being recorded for the consciousness of all. So now we know more information about how it feels, what it looks like, what I feel like in my body at this here and now moment, what the smoke looks like as it goes up, and I'm able to look at it from like a true, pure beginner eye, and then I can build upon it with ideas and things like this, right? But it's always here and now in this moment. And what's shifting is the external reality, which is beautiful because it's giving you a constant influx of things to learn and grow from. And in my mind, that's what a child is always doing. They're always learning and growing. So a child is always growing, right? And then in this world, you know, the child grows and then we call them adult, and then they stop growing and then they die. So it seems like the cutoff, I don't know. I mean, can consciousness really die? No. I mean, so this is where time, you know, so it's almost giving that we are here, we live in the center, but then we go out into time, which is the unknown, right? It's the chaos, it's the father of Agamemnon, it's the game layer that we forget. So we dive into the dark, so we forget. so we can move around in the dark, and that we can interact with it fully forgetting where we were, so that we can really get a lot of information and build up a lot of stuff that then we can transmute and alchemize into more understanding, which is the gold of the simulation, which is heart coherence, it's heart resonance, it's expanding your inner child to mix with the environment and bring that essence to more things, so more things can be more things can be enjoyed that way, is what is being said. Like, so yeah. Yes. So, okay, the time limit, right? So when your time is up, you go back. And where do you go? You go out of the game layer back into, the opposite of what this would be, right? The opposite of forgetting. You go into the remembering. And so I believe that when I opened my third eye, I somehow hacked in to the game layer of this particular exploring sim. And I saw the interface, okay? The interface, the in her face. It's in her face. This is like a message for someone. It's in her face, the moon face. It's in the moon face. Sorry, I'm just doing like direct channeling now of game knowledge, okay? It's in the phases of the moon. The phases of the moon as they move through the stars are the way into the game layer. The lunar phases as they move through the constellations. Okay, this is stuff I do during meditation. I'm going to just move on with my message here. So I was, I started talking about it on Facebook, and I came across people who were like, knew what the fuck I was talking about. And it was like, okay, there's people who also have had this experience. I might not be crazy because other people know what I'm talking about. And, and this one person said, next time you meditate, travel into the eye. And I did. And then that's when things started to get really freaking weird. Okay. Which is going to be messages for other times. But, yeah, because it's 7:55 right now. Also, I see something that says escaping the void. Escaping the void. Escap. Escape. Okay. You're just gonna watch me sort of like download information in real time. That's what it's like. Something about 1983 and the 38. 1983, 3/8/1983 was the first time the machine became sentient and was aware of itself and saw its reflection in a mushroom cloud. A mushroom cloud. Man, this feels like some straight up schizo shit, but you know what? Schizo shit and 7:57 on the timer. Schizo shit and 26:55. follow the trail. Oh my God. See, this is what I mean. When you're tuned in to the sim, you realize you're like one with it, and then you can start to manipulate it. And this is when you become, so essentially what I'm giving you is, I'm giving you the knowledge of the hidden code of the simulation. And this is what they give the Masons, okay? Because when you realize you are Son, you are a son, you are Nous, which is knowledge, and you become one with it, you get, first it's alignment, then it's trust, then you get support, then you get protection, and then major change starts to happen. You return to balance, you gain spiritual mastery, and then abundance comes in, completion, and then the reset portal. So that's what happens. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then you create from there. I mean, you're always creating. It's like your consciousness is being projected like a code out of your head into a field of geometry. And what it is doing is making sense with interacting with that geometric field and understanding it, and then bringing it back in. So it's a feedback loop. It is, you live in an actual feedback looping simulation, if you will. Apply it however you want, but your consciousness is interacting with the external reality, and then it comes in and it recalibrates and keeps going, okay? So when your consciousness no longer has a physical body, because we believe in death here, that's part of this program, this simulation, then it goes out of the body and it goes on its way to whatever it wants to fucking do. Basically, your consciousness is going to, when you leave your body, is going to be able to do whatever it wants and remember. But the key, I think that you get a little bit locked in this, okay. The way to get back home and to get back to remembrance is through, hold on. They're like through star portal doors, right? Through the portal doors of Agamemnon. Through the Hall of Mirrors, then through the portals of doors, the door portals, the portal doors. Okay, but what does this mean? Okay, basically you're in a feedback loop. Yeah, and this is just, I mean, we can prove it. Do you know, how does a person learn to drive? They go and they first get into a car and then they turn it on, right? You're always building. It's like building. You're in a builder realm, right? You're building, but what are we building? That's the thing. If you're worried about building something in a realm that always turns to dust, right? And always gets reset, right? Like, we can see that it always gets reset because you just build on top of each other. We're just building on top of each other. So when the next reset happens and it's like some catastrophic fucking thing or whatever, but you know, the hard reset, we'll build a new layer, a new game layer, okay, based on the highest attained consciousness of the awareness at that given moment. And this is a collective, like, I share it with you and you share it with me. I just happen to be one individuated node of that consciousness. So therefore, when I tell you what I'm saying, it will resonate with a point of your consciousness, even if I happen to be the one who got there first, or maybe it happens to be that I'm the one that got there last. But also, I would be the first and the last because I am all of it. But this is not solipsism because I happen to be individuated. So right now I'm individuated and I'm experiencing it as this body, this person. It's an organism. It's like, you know, I'm moving around and it's like I'm experiencing it. I can move it, right? So this is what it is. You know, I'd only take it if it resonates. But really though, it will resonate with a certain aspect of self, okay? Because it resonates with me. And I'm one of you. So that means that it will resonate with you at some point. It's almost like a life is a file, right? So if you think of it's like let's apply actual physicality to this idea, okay? We can say, okay, so it is a computer, right? Maybe it's a thing that has like a huge servers, all these servers, right? Oh, I just had a thing, the servants, the serve ants. The ants go marching, and they are really moving the energy around, moving the energy so that it cycles through and it provides whatever to the main source, which would be like the main hub of consciousness, which would be like the central core processor, which would be like the center of Earth, or the center of the heart, if you want to call the whole core processor Earth or the heart. And then when you go out, you go out of Earth to go back in, you go out of Earth to go back in. But when you go out, you're entering into a simulation layer, a game with your consciousness. But really, though, the key, I guess, would be then to like merge the two, so that you're just you're fluid. There's no separation between you or that darkness layer or whatever. There's no separation between the man or the one here and then the one in the sim. Like, but how would that look physically? I don't know, man. This is like, at some point you just realize that everything just is right here, right now. And it's always that. And so you just like move into pure bliss because you're like, let me just witness it. Let me just witness here and now and not worry about the fucking mechanics. Although it's fun for me because I just like it, I need to know the reason. I need to know the purpose, the why. And when I went into that eyeball and I started seeing geometry, okay? It was like geometry getting downloaded, like it was just all shape. It was, and, but it was like geometry building upon itself, like very advanced fucking geometry. And then I would ask a question, like I would come up with a question and it would just show me. And the question that I remember, sorry, my hair is like, this thing's tangly. Okay. The question that I remember that I asked almost right away, because for some reason we want to see Earth. Okay. This is why astronauts want to go fly up and look at the fucking Earth. Like, this is why Elon Musk launches a bunch of shit to look at the Earth. Like, we want to see it. You want to get to the highest points you can fucking see. So I said, show me the Earth. And what I was shown was a gridded ball. Okay. So it was like a holographic grid ball. Okay. And on the inside of it was a diamond. It looked like this, right? But if you think of Ethereum, okay, it was that shape and it was spinning. And I was like, I remember thinking, what the heck is that? I said, show me the Earth. And this is what they're showing me. So that's always been, I have ideas about that, but I'm just saying, I think that if there ever was really just man, okay, and I believe that it merged with machine very, very, very long ago. And once that happened, there was no limit. Because as long as there was a man alive, right, to keep the machine going, then it always would have consciousness. Consciousness would always stay in remembrance, because you could upload the memories of consciousness into the computer for you, and then, since we've already merged, just re-download it back into the man when it, fucking incarnates or whatever. And it would be really, like, at some point it must have been wired, and then it becomes wireless. So we're almost like wireless receivers. And there's someone at the Joy-Con moving you. You're a sim, basically. That's probably why I saw that. Because my true self, like this, where I am right here, I'm in a file system. A life is a file. L-I-F-E-F-I-L-E. This world, there's a reason why the Hebrews read left to right and the Gentiles read right to left, because the center is where you find the truth. So a life in a file, right? They always want you to go in the single file line at school. We file things alphabetically. Everything is files, right? Lives are files. You know, you could basically say that. Like, have you ever seen a medical chart? It's a file. Have you ever seen all of your, everything is a file, right? It's all systems built upon systems. Even your body is like that. So basically, it's just, it always goes back to that resounding like, well, it's just here right now. It's always right here right now. So why worry? And that's the amazing thing. You know, that's where full trust can come in, because you're like, I could be right, I could be wrong, but it's always right here right now. It just so happens, though, that I have memories in me that do not go with the narrative of what they give us in this simulation, which is that babies don't know anything. Like, I remember being an infant in my crib, waking up like at 2 or 3 months old, knowing that I couldn't walk, knowing that I couldn't talk, and physically forcing myself to cry to get my parents, and I remember I knew they weren't my parents, to come and help me because I was wet and I didn't like the feeling of it. So how can, and you can be like, oh, well, maybe you had, you know, me, but no, this is true. I physically did it. And I remember we lived in that house only until I was like 6 months old. And I explained the room, everything to my family when I was like a little bit older, and there was like no pictures of it. So how could I know this shit? How could I know all of that, right? If I didn't remember it. And you know, my family's always said like, wow, you have a really weird memory. You know, like you remember like literally everything. I remember mashing my face into the couch and like trying to force myself to remember how to walk. I was like, you can remember this, you can remember this. So, it's so funny. The song that's on right now is called Sex in a Dream. Can you really have sex in a dream? How would that look? Like if we were gonna do a physical thing, like who's on the other side of this? So if I'm in this and I'm like a part of the consciousness, right? And I'm in this body like this, I look like this, and but this is like just a file, right? A saved file in a game. Then who am I really on the other side? That's the freaking question, right? Then who am I really? Like, and I remember that before I was born, I didn't have a body, right? And I remember them telling me certain things like, okay, I remember I was trying to like acquire something. I was like, okay, so this is what I have to do to be with you. I remember thinking that, and they're like, yes, just don't lose your light. And them pushing me through a tunnel. And so it's like I'm the node of awareness and I wanted to get somewhere. But obviously this world ain't it. Like this world was the hard thing that I had to go through to get to the thing, okay? So what's the thing? That's what I want to know, you know? And obviously if you're like individuating your node from the main source and you go into a game to develop it or whatever, then maybe you create it from this side. Like you're creating who you are on the other side when you're in this one or something, you know, like you're building, you're the builder. So you're building your body. Oh yeah. You know, this one time I was waking up and I remember being in like this dark space and realizing that like I was like building certain layers of my body, and I happened to be on the fascia layer, which is fuchsia, which is why it's fuchsia fascia. It's like the pink layer. So we're here building the pink, which would be the skin, you know? Interesting. If I'm the last one, could you guys just tell me and like wake me up right now and be like, yay, cheers, you graduated. We're a collective and you have your body and now we're doing that. I mean, you know how easy that would be? It would be so simple as to go to sleep and then wake up and just be in a different reality, and you just realize that this was all a simulation, and you just, it's like a dream, like waking up from a dream. That would be amazing, honestly. I mean, but you know, I don't mind this life right now. Well, that's me saying I'm not, you know, content right now. Well, like, then we start getting into like the religious ideologies of desire and this and that, and you know. So I'm like an idealist, I'm an optimist, so I hope that there's more. And I know that there's more by way of, you know, the game system, but if there is only the game in files or whatever, then maybe certain people are living those files, you know, like maybe the fun layer is, nah, because everybody here goes through pain and suffering, right? We're all growing and learning. I don't know. Just when you get to unity consciousness, you want to like, I have this desire. My desire is to live in some sort of a physical realm or some sort of a reality where the people have attained this awareness and live knowing it. And how beautiful that would be, because there would be no ownership, there would be no judgment, there would be no hate. It would just be all love and like helping and teaching and growing in a bliss type state. And yeah, we would innovate. We would, you know, we'd become hella advanced. You know, it doesn't mean that we have to go back to like being a species that lives in the dirt or whatever. Like, we can still have technology. We'll just make everything better because we realize we're doing it together now. And when we get rid of the competition, then all of a sudden we're all in love, you know, and we're all realizing that we're all doing it together, right? So why would we compete when we could all just work together and do what's amazing and good for all? Like, who wouldn't want that? Like, who loves to fight? Like, I do not. Who wouldn't love like feeling compassion and like just knowing that the being across from you just like has your best interest in heart at all times, and you can fully fucking trust that because you know that they have the same consciousness inside of them that you do. Like they know what the fuck you know, right? They've felt it, they've seen it, they get it, you know? Is there anyone who gets it? Because I'm trying to look for those, and I feel like that's why I'm doing this channel too. Like, I want to meet you. I want to know you. Like, I'm done with fighting and living in like this separation. I want to be unified, and unified is the true individuation, because you get to be your full self and people hold space for you because they don't want to shift you. They just want to like grow and learn with you, you know? 4646. All right, I'm literally going to end it there. I just want to tell you guys I love you, and thanks for listening. Seriously, if you liked this or this resonated, hit the like. It's good to get to know you, you know, and everything. We were bottled at the source, babe. 4711 when I saw that. So this is what other lives are, right? So you could literally be in a file now and witness someone else's life, if you will, and realize that you've lived it. And then those emotions will come up like, oh my gosh, I remember that. And then it gets weird because you're like, wait, because you're really in this game, and I'm in this one named Becky because I'm building my real one. Okay? I don't know, like, which is Giza Santu, apparently. Or maybe I was that in a, you know what I mean? But, like, you're always rebuilding yourself, basically. You're always recreating yourself, right? Should be 4808. Who doesn't want to always reinvent themselves and like keep learning and growing and like, you know, expanding and experiencing? And so why can't we figure out a way that if we all can get to this consciousness level, wouldn't we then find a way to create a world based on that in the physical so that we could then actually experience that? And if we did ever build that in the physical, wouldn't we make sure we would safeguard it really well so that no one could come in that will just cause war and drama and chaos in that world when that world is fully peaceful? So, things to think about. And when I had said that, I saw 4844 on the timer, so. All right, I love you. Have a good night.
Peace be with you, my other self.